Hello, welcome back. I'm so excited to talk to you guys tonight about my pregnancy journey in labor and delivery because it was something, honestly. So yes, let's start. I'm gonna jump right in. So my pregnancy journey was a lot. It really was. Like, it was beautiful, yes, but I feel like a lot of it was, I don't know, a lot of self-doubt and a lot of just overthinking, because I'm already someone who overthinks a lot. So tie that up with pregnancy and pregnancy brain, I was all over the place. But yes, it was something, honestly. And even still, if you ask me if I would do it again, I would 100%. But yes, my pregnancy journey was something, you know. I was faced with a lot of self-doubt, where I doubted myself a lot of things that I wanted to do. As mentioned in my first video, I kind of shy away from that, and I self-sabotage, and I feel like I do that a lot, and I need to not do that. And yeah, I self-sabotage, and now I'm here, and I'm just like, looking back, it didn't have to be that way. Like, my life didn't have to go on pause just because I'm carrying life. If anything, it should have been, you know, the sign or like the motivation, whatever it is, that should have been the starting point of a whole new life, a whole new world. Because when I tell you, pregnancy brought so much new insights into my life, and at the time I couldn't see it. I couldn't understand because, like I said, I was too busy thinking about everything else but the life that was brewing inside of me. And honestly, that's where I went wrong. So when I do it again, if I ever do it again, the goal is to make sure that, you know, like, I'm at a place where I'm secure enough to be able to not worry about my career falling through, me branding myself falling through, and every little project I have, to just be able to, you know, follow through with it. You know, because looking back now, I'm like, come on, like, you're better than that. Like, this is no different, right? Like, we go through all these hurdles, all these obstacles, and pregnancy, honestly, is no different. Like, it's a ride, hell of a ride. And I understand that better now, looking back. But at the same time, I should have poured more into myself, you know, like, because I feel like it's not that, like I was here, like I understood certain things, and I just didn't follow through. I allowed me being pregnant to just, I don't know, like, almost like it was a gateway for me to give up on everything. Because, you know, when you're trying to do things and start things up, it's very hard. You know, you kind of doubt yourself, and you're looking at like all the work you need to do, and it's a lot. Like, and not that I have any problem doing the work, it's a lot because you don't know if, you know, someone's gonna want to watch you or want to listen to you speak. And I feel like that for a long time, that's where I was stuck at. And honestly, I just said, whoever wants to hear me, they will hear, and if you don't, there's an exit button right at your right corner, and you could exit your way out. Simple. But yes, moving along, my pregnancy journey was a ride, hell of a ride. And all in all, honestly, it was one of the best rides of my life, because the joy that it brought into my life, like, it's unexplainable. And I'm thankful for that. Like, if you're a mom or even a parent, I'm sure you understand. Like, I don't even need to explain, because it's honestly hard. But yes, my pregnancy journey, my lows were a lot mentally, because it was a whole new world for me, and I was, you know, confronted with, you know, like, my past life and like my life that, you know, I'm looking at, like the life in front of me. And I remember, like, you know, mourning, you know, my old life, mourning the things I used to do, you know, being able to go out when I wanted to, and, you know, doing the things I wanted. And at the end of the day, that honestly is not enough. It's not enough for me to you know, like, self-sabotage or to like not be happy. And it was honestly more than that, because there was a lot going on mentally and emotionally, and it was what it is, you know. Like, I think the thing that I hated the most was the fact that I had to balance, you know, work life and being pregnant. And that was tough, because at the time I worked at a very, very, very tough, you know, job. And I remember working Wednesday through Saturdays. It was a 4-day work week, which meant that it was long shifts. You know, it would be like from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. On Saturdays, it was always 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., 14 hours straight. And God forbid I got scheduled for a half day, because this was a school, and I would have to come in 14 hours. So that's 14 hours on top of my already 14 mandatory on Saturdays. And it was tough, you know. If you're familiar with, you know, kids with disabilities, kids with autism on different spectrums, you know, like, it's a lot. And every day at work was different, because the kids I worked with, they got violent. And although most of my pregnancy I sat out, like, I worked with the kids who were, you know, low maintenance, and I was grateful for that. But I was still there watching, and I still had to work, you know, the long hours, still be on my feet for long hours. And it honestly was a lot. Like, I don't think any pregnant woman really wants to go through all that, honestly, because on top of my 80, I was working almost 80 plus hours on top of that, because I overworked myself, and I worried a lot, you know, about how am I going to be able to, you know, cover my mortgage? How am I going to be able to pay my utilities? Although when you go on FMLA, you know, when you're about to have your child, you do get, you know, a percentage of your check. But even still, like, that wasn't cutting nothing. Like, it was not enough. So I knew this, and I was just like, okay, I need to prepare. And this was like, you know, like nothing new. Like, this is what I do with almost everything. Like, I make a plan, and I execute. So I made a plan, like, I'm gonna work X amount of hours so that I could save at least 6 months of my mortgage, and also have, you know, play money, be able to pay my utilities, and, you know, not worry. And that's exactly what I did. Although it was a lot, because I remember, like, towards the end, my feet was swollen. Like, it was literally, like, it looked like an elephant trunk. Like, it was huge. And I remember, like, the last week of work, I was just like, I'm out. Like, I'm not coming back for the next 6 months. And I was happy, but yeah, it was a lot. And thankfully I was able to, you know, save 6 months of my mortgage and play money and all that, which I was very thankful for, because when I got on my FMLA, even though it was hard, you know, doing the overtime, I was thankful for it, because when I was getting my FMLA check, which was like, what, 60%, I was literally like shopping or like doing like random stuff with it. Like, it just, yeah, like, so I was very thankful for that. And other than that, I think if I didn't have to, you know, work, I think, I don't know, maybe things would be different, because I think that alone put a lot of pressure on me. And not if I didn't work, maybe if I didn't have that kind of job, because the nature of that job, crazy, like crazy. I probably would never honestly work in it again. Like, it's not for everyone, and definitely wasn't for me. And when I got pregnant, I was like, I gotta go anyways. So I'm thankful I was able to find another job after I got off my FMLA, but that's a story for another time. But yes, other than that, my pregnancy was great, because although I worried a lot, I still at the time I was like, you know, I'm bringing a new life. And although, you know, like, although it was a lot, my partner at the time, he did try his best to accommodate to my needs and do what he needed to do. I have to say that. But other than that, it was still a lot, because again, like when you're pregnant and you have a million things going through your mind, it's almost like it's a fight with yourself, you know, like a mental warfare, and nothing anyone says or do can change that. And that's the thing, you know, and I feel like that's what people need to understand. Like, it's like, try to listen. I feel like, if anything, looking back, if people tried to listen more, it would be, you know, things would be much better, because I feel like people are always listening to give a response, but not listening just to listen, you know, and that was the problem. But yeah, pregnancy journey was beautiful. I had great laughs, I had good times, you know. I remember the time I pulled up to this Chinese place to get myself some chicken and plantain, and it was closed. Right, sure enough, I looked at my phone and I'm like, it's Monday, because I know this Chinese place closed on Monday. Is my favorite one, and it's the only one really that I like to get chicken and plantain from. I've been getting it there my whole life, ever since I came from Haiti. But I pulled up and it was closed. I stood in front of it and I bawled my eyes out. Like, I was crying, like the tears were coming down. And I'm never gonna forget that day, because I was so upset, so frustrated over chicken and plantains. And then, yeah, that's a lot. Honestly, I think I need to do another video where I talk mainly about my pregnancy journey. But I think all in all, that sums it all. You know, there was highs, there was lows, and would I change it? No. Would I do certain things different? Yes. But all in all, I'm thankful for my baby. Like, I'm blessed. But yes, moving on. My labor and delivery day was crazy. First of all, my baby did not come on time. She was like 4 days. I'm like doing 5. She was 4 days late, and it was hell, because I remember I arrived to the hospital ready, because, you know, it's my due date and nothing's happening. So I'm like, okay, when I go to the hospital and I do this appointment, they're gonna tell me we're having a baby and everything's gonna be okay. I go to my appointment and none of that is said. They're telling me, you know, you could choose to go home or you could choose to blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, what do you mean I could choose? Like, they're telling me that I could choose to get induced. And at the time, like I said, on my due date, and I'm huge. My feet is like elephant trunks. I'm 260 pounds at the time. And I'm just like, honestly, I'm choosing to get induced. This baby needs to come out today. But she didn't come out today. Like, she took 4 more days after that. Like, I would not dilate. I just, like, nothing was happening. And I think it was because my body was so tense and I was so nervous and so anxious at the same time. And I was tired, you know. I had a lot going through my mind, and I think that caused me to tense. And I think the thing about pregnancy, you have to relax, and it's very hard to relax. I probably shouldn't even say that, but you kind of have to try to relax, you know. Like, don't allow your body to tense up, because it's just not good for you. Because now you end up being in labor for X amount of days, X amount of hours, and nobody's trying to do all that, because it's a lot. But fast forward, 4th day, my whole plan was to not get the epidural. On the 4th day, I looked at my mom and I looked at my partner at the time, and I said, call my midwife, I'm getting the epidural. And I remember my mom and my partner was like, no, we talked about this, remember? And I was just like, I don't care, get me the epidural. And that's what I did. And honestly, everyone may have their own opinion about epidural. It messes up your back, whatever it is. For me, when and if I get the chance again, it's epidural. Epidural me up. Like, I'm not playing. I honestly didn't sleep for 4 days straight. And the moment I got the epidural, I got cozy. I went to sleep. I was able to relax. I even stopped overthinking. Like, I was chilling. Like, I was good. And when it came time to push in, granted, it was a lot, and it was, you know, still painful, because the epidural, it does help with not feeling pain, but at the same time, it doesn't take the whole pain away, right? So you still feel something, but I was still grateful for it. So when it came time to push in, that was probably the most intense part, because I felt like I didn't get the chance to like really breathe. Like my midwife kept saying, take a deep breath and push. But at the same time, she didn't give me a second. She'd be like, take a deep breath, push, deep breath, push. And I'm like, give me a second. Like, can I actually take a deep breath? But I remember, like, you know what? Just do what she says, and hopefully your baby will come out and it will be over with. So yeah, it was a lot. I did not breathe. I kept pushing and pushing, and finally they're like, her head is out, and I said, hallelujah, like, amen. Her head is out. Woo! I was excited, because the moment the head is out, it's done. You feel no more pain. They pull the baby out, and that's it. But I remember feeling like also, I was excited, you know, like my baby's out, but at the same time, I was nervous and anxious, because when she came out, she had no heartbeat and there was no cry. And I'm like sitting there waiting, my eyes are closed. I'm like, God, please, I need to hear my baby cry. Sure enough, hallelujah. My baby starts crying. They bring her over to me and put her on my chest, and it was the best time of my life. I shed a tear. Like, my baby, she's here, you know. And at the time, I was still like kind of confused, like, I'm really a mom, you know, like, is this baby really mine? But still, I was just like, I think she's mine, you know, like, she's on me, like, I just went through all this pain. But nonetheless, honestly, it was a beautiful time, and I'm never gonna forget my mom. Like, my mom honestly stressed me out in the labor and delivery room, because I thought I was the one in labor. I don't know, my mom was cutting up, like, she was crying and doing the most. Like, honestly, that's gonna have to be a story for another time, because when I tell you my mom was doing the most, I couldn't look at her. At one point, I had to literally turn my body so that my mom could be on my backside, because I said, I can't look at her, because it's either that or I'm gonna ask the nurse to take her out, because she's doing the most, and she's, you know, she's raising my blood pressure up at this point. But yeah, it was good. I think the only bad side about my labor and delivery is the fact that the black OB, which at the end of the day, she really didn't owe me no loyalty. Like, who am I at the end of the day, right? It's like, get your check, get your bag, and roll out. Like, it is what it is. But at the same time, like, she wasn't trying to give me time, like, trying to speed up the process. And it was either I hurry up, you know, and push, or it was a C-section. She's just like, you know, like, should we do a C-section? Like, she had no patience and no care in the world. And I was shocked, because if it wasn't for my midwife, like, I probably would have a C-section. And I'm so glad that I had picked my midwife, you know. So really do your research and really pick a midwife that really aligns with what you want, because at the end of the day, regardless of what any doctor, any OB says, you're the one having the baby. Unless you physically can't push a baby through, you know, the vagina, then okay, like, and it's okay if you have a C-section too, like, nothing wrong with it, you know, it's okay, as long as the baby comes out and he or she is safe and healthy. That's all that matters, you know. But yeah, my OB, I was like, no, like, I can't believe this. Thank God for my midwife, and thank God for my mom. Like, my mom, if you thought she was cutting up, like, when I couldn't dilate or nothing was happening, she was like, my daughter is not having a C-section. Like, I said no. And I was just like on the bed, all in pain, crying, like, you go, Mom, you go. But it was beautiful. So yeah, Thank you for sitting along and listening to me. Please come back. Have a good one.